All right, we're all set to go.
Okay. Good morning. The 36th District Court in the state of Michigan is now in session with the Honorable Donald Coleman presiding. While court is in session, there will be no talking, sleeping, chewing of gum, or reading any materials, and please no driving. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. This is case number 22-19-4198. This is William Beaumont Hospital versus Leslie Session. The matter is before the court on looks like a motion to set aside default is at least one of the causes that bring us here today. The court, the record should reflect in this matter that the default was entered in this case. The date of that default looks like here, the 4th of January 2023. That default entry resulted in judgment in the amount of $838. There was a notice of service in the file, and there was no response to the complaint. Therefore, the judgment was entered by default. For William Beaumont Hospital, your appearance at this time. For Beaumont Hospital.
Right. Excuse me. Good morning. I'm Leslie Session.
I'm calling you yet.
I'm sorry.
All right, we'll come back to that matter in just a moment. Stand tight in the session. This is case number 22-187835. This is Davenport University versus Christina Livingston Long. The matter is before the court, set on for a motion. That's right, they're set on for a pretrial hearing on today's date. Your appearance for plaintiff in this matter.
Good morning, Your Honor. Gary Feynman, appearing on behalf of Davenport University, 41655.
All right, thank you, counsel. I'm looking now for Livingston Long, Christina Livingston Long. If you're on the Zoom, please say something at this time. All right, I do have notations indicating that a notice did go out to the defendant regarding this date. Looking, and the court issued an order regarding this date as well. That order had the Zoom number 534 on it. That is an incorrect Zoom number, and it was not corrected on the notice. So I'm a bit concerned about that because we've run into some problems in that regard, counsel. What happens is persons call into that Zoom number, and they get caught waiting in another courtroom. There is another judge that recently came in this docket whose last name is Coleman, and so they tend to get caught up in that maze. So I'm concerned about that part of it. Have you spoken with Ms. Livingston Long or had any contact with the defendant in this regard?
Your Honor, I was just asked to cover this hearing, so I don't have any knowledge of the history of this matter.
Gotcha. All right.
It is set for a motion for summary disposition, though. You didn't note that.
Right, certainly. And again, my concern arises out of the fact that that defendant may very well be in another courtroom. I see also that the motion was filed on the 30th. My order would typically allow for 10 days to respond, so it looks like that requirement's met. Counsel, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to set another date and send out the correct Zoom address just to cover things. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it 3 weeks hence. So given that today is the 14th, I'm going to set it for the 7th March 3/7/23. I'm going to set that at 9:45 a.m. And I'm going to send out we're going to get a new notice out right away with the correct Zoom address on that.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, counsel. Good day to you.
Good day to you as well.
And back to the Beaumont versus Session matter, I have the notice in that particular case that also has a Zoom number of 537. That Zoom number is incorrect. Ms. Sessions, how did you know to come to this particular Zoom?
Excuse me, I called that 537, or I logged into the 537, and I'm assuming the court reporter gave me the correct number.
Okay. Well, I don't have the other side here. They're typically here regarding matters like this. I see that
Okay.
you, and in your motion, you indicate the court lacks jurisdiction because you no longer reside at the address the info is being sent to. The problem with that is that I have an affidavit from a process server that says that you were served at the Wisconsin address. Are you listening to me?
Yes, I'm listening. I'm sorry.
Wisconsin address on October the 9th, 2022. What are you going to say about that, ma'am?
I have not been served. I was not living in that house then. There was my daughter was living there, so I'm not sure if she signed for it or not. I'm not really sure, but I personally, I did not receive it.
All right, ma'am. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up another hearing. Go ahead and set it on that you heard me give a few moments ago. That's the 7th of March. And I'm going to send out the correct notice. You were able to come into the correct time. Before I make a decision on this, I'd like to hear from both sides in this regard.
Okay.
May result in an evidentiary hearing where the other side has to come in and resolve and bring up the process server in to testify.
Okay.
Let me ask you this, a basic
Yes.
question before we deal with all of that. This alleges that this is a medical deal with William Beaumont Hospital that may have occurred somewhere in 2020 and 2021.
Yes, that's correct.
The challenge here is that if successful on getting the default set aside, you likely still end up with a judgment situation if that's your debt. If it's not your debt, that's a whole other issue.
Okay.
But, in that, and you see, I'm not asking that specific, just some things for you to think about. It could be a kind of spinning the wheel if this is something that can be proven to be a debt that you have. Now, if we were talking about a hospital bill or whatever that was into the thousands and thousands, I wouldn't even raise that subject. But apparently what's going on here is whatever this bill is with interest and things like that, you're still coming up to somewhere in the nature of $800 and something. So this is not a case where you're dealing with a $10,000 hospital that's less than $1,000. So if
Yes.
that is your bill, probably you want to think about, ways that you might get that resolved rather than, back and forth to court. I don't mind coming here as many times as you want to, but you might want to resolve that, especially since it's not involving $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000. It's probably something that you
Yes. I would like to actually, I would just like to enroll into a plan. And it is my bill, actually. It's for my therapist. And so that's why I was just trying to, enroll into some type of payment plan or something.
All right. Well, I could do it a couple of ways. You could wait until the 7th, or you could deal with it now. There is a judgment in place, and what happens when there is a judgment? You can always petition the court to try and set up a payment plan. You could also reach out to the hospital to do that. But given the amount that it is, a reasonable offer of a payment plan could resolve this, or if you wanted to lump sum it or something. What did you have in mind in terms of trying to pick? Just tell me that, and I'll see if we can find a way to go forward with it.
I can say $100 a month.
Oh, I mean, if that's what you want to do with sessions, I can sign a partial payment order that lets you go ahead and do that. You can start your first payment.
Yes.
Oh, I mean, is that really where you, is that what you're trying to do? I thought you were trying to just get judgment set aside and fight it in that way. Because the only reason I raise this is if you get it set aside, if it's your debt, then they're just going to bring the case back and go forward. That, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So, you know, if it was the kind of thing that if you were able to show that you didn't serve and in
What?
that case,
How can I show that? How can I show I wasn't served?
if you show, you might be able to, if I conduct a hearing, that officer is going to come in and they're either going to say that they served you or that they didn't serve. Well, what happens then is that the default gets set aside. But then what happens next is that the process server comes to where you are now and serve, and back to the same place. You see what I'm saying? So.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I'd rather, if we can go ahead and just get it taken care of. Yeah, that's it.
I mean, and I, you know, only because I don't have a lot of cases today that I had a moment to kind of stop and talk to you about.
Yes, I understand. Yeah.
So if you have a plan to approach it in the way that you said, then what happens is I'll sign an order here that allows you to start making monthly payments. That means you don't get garnished or anything. So you make your first payment, you know, say the 10th of March, and then each month thereafter you will be looking at the second Friday of each month. And I think the judgment is $800 something. So in roughly 8 months, you've done. And they have
Yes.
satisfaction, judgment, and it's all over.
Yes, I'll take that option. That's perfect.
Okay. All right. Now, I didn't try to talk you into that. I was just giving you a little.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
I think that may very well be a wise way to go.
I think so too.
If you were telling me that this was not my debt, I don't know where this came from, and if this was from, you know, several years ago, and you know, and you couldn't remember it or something, you know, like it was from 90, I should say from 2018 or something, then you know that may raise some concerns. But I see it's 20 and 21, and if it's not something 39, then just figure out a way to deal with it and be done. So. And $100,
yes,
$100 a month is reasonable, so I can set that up. You'll get an order from me in the mail in the next few days, and as long as you pay on the order, they can't garnish your wages or anything like that.
yes. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, very well. So I'm going to go ahead and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to deny the motion. But then I'm going to issue an order for installment payments, and you'll get both of those things from me.
Perfect.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right. I wish you well, man. I'm glad we had a chance to kind of talk about it today.
Thank you. Thank you. You enjoy your day.
Likewise.
Bye-bye.